With the return of the Bleach anime coming soon, one of the many things that the manga fans are excited to see and anime onlys have no idea is coming is easily the overwhelming, ridiculous strength of Yhwach. From start to finish, Yhwach has been this broken individual as he is the father of the Quincy. From his introduction bringing ultimate despair to the Shinigami, to his conclusion basically making him a literal god, he has always held this presence inside of the universe of Bleach. In today's video, we're going to discuss one of Kubo's greatest creations, and how he rivals almost every anime character, period. But before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe for more Bleach related content, and without all further ado, let's get right into the video. So for starters, not only is Yhwach broken in terms of the Bleach universe, but he is broken in terms of almost every universe. In fact, many consider that Kubo wrote himself into a corner when it came to this ridiculous power. Allow me to simply elaborate on his strength. Not only does Yhwach have crazy base stats, but he also has a small axe known as the Almighty. And to put this in simplistic terms, all powers that he knows and understands are under his control and cannot harm him, which might seem broken, but when you include it with other abilities of the Almighty, it is undefeatable. He knows the entire future and can easily distinguish what you're gonna do. In chapter 677, he explains it by saying that he can see every possible future at once. But wait, the Almighty is not just foresight. He doesn't just see the future, he is able to freely alter the future at will. Inside the story, in chapter 686, he is killed by Ichigo, but then is able to alter the future and erase his own death. Yhwach is unkillable as a being, and this is what makes him so broken on this absurd level. It doesn't matter if you kill Yhwach, as he can just undo the future as many times as it takes. After all, he can shape the future itself into his own image. He has abilities that literally counter any countermeasure. He is a god inside of Bleach. You can take away all of his power using your ability, and he can simply say he has the power back, and it will return to him. If any of his abilities are weakened in any way, he can just give his own power back to himself at will. This is obviously seen in his fight against Ichibe. Yhwach is an absolute beast. He is a monster. But wait, if you think that describes all the strength of Yhwach, you would be in for a surprise. Yhwach has an ability that robs his opponents of their strength. And while when it was used against Ichibe it failed in chapter 608, we also know that Yhwach was also simply playing around with Ichibe. He also has a lot of the same techniques that every other Quincy can do, but it can easily be implied that unlike them, he has a complete mastery of these skills, such as his transportation and defensive techniques. There's definitely more, and we have barely scratched the surface, especially after he absorbed the Soul King. Upon the absorption of the Soul King, Yhwach's defensive and offensive attacks become absolute broken. He gains the ability to literally have control over physical matter. He is responsible for nearly ending the universe of Bleach. You can't defeat Yhwach, as his powers are unlimited. You can kill him, but he'll deny his death. You can use an ultimate technique, but he'll destroy the technique inside of all possible futures so that you can't use it. When the main character Ichigo Kurosaki tried to use his Bankai against Yhwach, Yhwach realized the strength of this Bankai, and he simply broke it in all possible futures. The only reason why Yhwach has any chance of being defeated in any universe, and especially defeated in the story of Bleach, is because he is a villain inside of the story of Bleach. His one weakness is silver. It comes from the victims he leaves behind with Oswalin Light, a skill that I haven't even touched upon because while it is broken, it's not nearly as broken as all of his other stats. When the silver left behind by this attack makes contact into his body, the Almighty is temporarily turned off. And this isn't just any normal silver, this is specifically silver that's left inside the hearts from the Oswalin Light. However, the only universe inside of any anime that is known to have this specific silver that can nullify Yhwach's attacks is the Bleach universe. So in that context, Yhwach is broken and undefeatable in almost any other context with the exception of a few stories. I'm not even saying that this makes Yhwach a great character, but if anything, it definitely makes him a scary villain. The fact that you can beat him, you can kill him, but he isn't losing the war. He's coming back almost immediately after, is terrified, and he will simply deny the very events that you used to defeat him in the first place from ever taking place. Yhwach is also broken in the narrative, as it is implied that the majority of the Sternrider's force is only a threat because Yhwach bestowed a portion of his abilities onto them, meaning that all the despair built up throughout Thousand Year Blood War, all the threat, is solely because of Yhwach. This causes him to be the most threatening, overpowered villain in all anime and manga that I have read, especially in terms of their very own universe. I can't say every manga or anime, I have not read every story to ever exist, but it's fairly obvious that Yhwach is ridiculously overpowered. This is definitely amazing for the start and middle of this arc, but as many might have noticed, became problematic later on. Kubo did an excellent job establishing and building Yhwach up. At the start, he successfully had him kill Old Man Yama, someone we referenced as the community as pure power inside of the story of Bleach. Kubo successfully handled him in the middle by relating him to Old Man Zangetsu and by relaying him to Ichigo's origin story inside of Ichigo's heritage, making him the one responsible for Misaki's death. Following that, his battle with Ichibei was legendary, especially as it twisted and turned towards the ending, which is where we saw the true power of Yhwach, something that was truly terrifying. Ichibei's build-up through the battle makes this absolute perfect. In fact, Yhwach was perfect until chapter 666. Yhwach was handled nearly perfectly. However, with Silver's introduction, something I don't consider to be a Deus Ex Machina, but definitely a poorly handled plot device, complications formed in my opinion. The narrative message and overall ending was still fantastic in my eyes, but I think Kubo missed the landing in some various ways. Again, I still love the ending of Bleach, and I'm in the works of a video literally defending it right now, but to see such an overpowering character, somebody that's considered basically a god, be defeated by something that was barely built up. It was built up, but it was undeniably poorly built up, is my only issue with how Yhwach was handled. Nothing to do with Yhwach, but the way that they defeated him. I don't mind Silver being the object that takes him out. There was no other way to take out Yhwach, he was just far too strong, and it keeps the ending great in my opinion and doesn't make things feel like they last way too long. I just think an object of this importance would have been handled with a bit more care and time, which is something Kubo didn't have. I mean, he was sick, he had a torn shoulder tendon, so I'm content with what we got. But to say I think it was perfectly handled in the end wouldn't be wrong here. But to say I personally think it was perfectly handled by the end would be wrong. It could have been better, but to be fair, Kubo was sick of it. It could have been better, and that's just the blanket statement I'm gonna make. I feel like if Silver was just built up a tad bit better, things wouldn't just be great, but they would be nearly perfect. With a few exceptions, of course. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. And in the words of Genichimaru, bye bye!